Hi there, and welcome to Friday morning to the penultimate section of the course. So this morning you're going to have two sets of PowerPoints and two sets of video recordings. So we're finishing two things that I'm squeezing into the morning because normally the course has 12 units, but we're doing it in 10 plus that extra little bit. There'll be self-standing with no interaction that you can watch whenever. So I've had to squeeze two things in, and so I'm squeezing in the drafting and structuring the research proposal, and then the ethics and the look at ethics. These are quite easy and fun sections. I don't think this morning you're going to find it too hard. So it's a lot of work, and there's going to be four forums for discussion. And then what I'm suggesting is that maybe at lunchtime we should meet for an hour. So I'm going to put a message out, but maybe we should extend at least 45 minutes, right? So the 12 to 12:45, maybe 12 to 1, because then I can go over the answers that you've put in the discussion forum and give you some final clarifications on those discussions with regards to both the topics in Unit 9A and then the two in Unit 9B. So we'll be together just a little bit longer in terms of debriefing on these two units, and then just a half an hour tonight at 4:30. So drafting instruction and research proposal, it's not super hard, but I do want you to do this in a sort of experiential way rather than tell you this is boom, boom, boom. I want you to sort of experiment a little bit, look around, and then come to a definition as to what you think. So this units, today's and this morning's more specifically, again, examine the media sources if you have time. Just to clarify again, you've seen that it's a dry run. It's practice for your assignment 12. You need 3 for your assignment 12. You might want to do, 5, 6. So you've got some extras and you've tried them. And in the end, you see the ones that you really like and the ones that are more sort of powerful. And you want then to edit and finalize these and submit them as an assignment 12. You don't need to do 12 of these, right? I just like to give you, again, back to this notion of UDL, like to give you lots of topic, lots of possibilities, multiple pathways. So you choose where you want to do the practices on the media sources, and then you select the ones that you really like for your media source. So it's not an issue where I want you to, do them all. Select the ones that talk to you. Select the ones that, with regards to which you have strong thoughts and ideas about how to critique them, and then leave the rest to your colleagues. And then the other two main objectives for this morning: examine the structure of the research proposal and review some of the remaining questions about assignment 8, which is putting it all together, basically. Sort of copy-paste sort of work and a final edit. Key elements of the research proposal. So this is what's going to be sort of interactive. I'd like you to consult quickly the resources and identify what you consider to be the key elements of the proposal. So again, rather than give you a set answer, you will see that there's also the element that there's no definite exhaustive list as to what should be in a research proposal. So I'm letting you experientially look around and explore and make up your own mind as to what you're going to select. And even at 12, when I give you my final answer, I'm not going to be so prescriptively tell you it has to be this, it has to be that, it has to be that. There's an order, and there are some units and some sections that definitely have to be there. But there's room for flexibility and there's room for personalization. So, experiment, look around. You've got areas there, and you've got Stevenson's, and coming up, you've got a few websites as well in the next slide that actually show you samples and examples. No one has the definite answer. Shop around, look around, and then come to your final conclusion. And maybe in the form, you can just list them literally in the headings of what's going to be your proposal headings. And then we can have a general wrap-up discussions at 12 as we conclude, and I give you my sort of perspective on it. So here are some of the sites which I found with general sort of proposal samples. Again, it's not a right and wrong. These are different scholars, different academics, different teachers, different graduate supervisors giving their own opinion, and you will see that's not always the same. But beyond that, we will also see at 12 that there's a structure there that with some key sections in some key order. And then there's sort of fluffing around, and then you can add some things in either end and in the middle and things like this. So other questions remaining about assignment 8. This is going to be a really short video because really it's really mostly about setting you into that experiential mode this morning and then posting to the forum. Questions remaining about section 8. And these are just comments from being in a class with students and having done this before. The choice of tools are not random. So again, when you go to your methodology section, you're going to actually describe what your chosen methodology is. You're going to explain why, right? I don't want it to be just, I flipped the coin and I fell on phenomenology. You got to put a paragraph that actually explains how that methodology fits with your research question. And then, as I said, we're not expecting a professional sort of level proposal. You're just starting. But giving an indication of tools would be good, because the methodology is not the tool. So methodology then still leaves you room for a choice of tools. I'm not going to, downmark you because, oh my God, this tool doesn't belong to that methodology. But I'd like you to give it a little bit of thought, and then to try and see if you can read a little bit around, not necessarily journal articles, but there's a lot of websites on qualitative research, lots of websites on, methodological tools that go with this methodologies. Try to steer away. If my experience has been, you're going to tell me you do an interview, it doesn't say much. Even if you're going to do an interview, at least tell me what kind of interview. But interviews only go so far. And if you're working in qualitative, you might have to be a little more creative than that. And there's a lot of room to be creative. So don't just default down to that sort of I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to put interview. Look around a little bit and try and see what some of the fun tools could be that work with your methodology. Remember that you're exploring qualitative methodology. This is not an exercise where we're looking at quantitative, just because we are putting you again in a frame of mind of you in the real world, starting as a young scholar in your first sort of research project, probably around your school, the schools you have contact with no budget and no research assistance. So we're doing projects that are small in scope, and that really only would fit at this stage qualitative methodology. You don't need to tackle theory. You will see that in the proposals, you will see the element of theory. In this course, we don't teach about theory because the UPR has decided that theory will come after methodology because it's too complex as you begin the program. It would turn you off because it's a tough course. And so we begin gently with methodology and with research methods, and then we fill the gap later and go to theory. It's a bit of a fiction though, because theory does fit in your proposal. If you are interested, when you think the theory should fit in the order, we can discuss that. Well, you can stick it as a placeholder. You can put it in gray or something, as in it's there, or in brackets. It's there, and that's what it would be. But you're not writing about theory in this project because you haven't been taught about theory yet. Consider the ethics. So normally at the end of the proposal would not include a reflection on ethics. Normally the proposal is a proposal, and then the next step is, once you finish the proposal, you copy paste the relevant elements into your ethics proposal. The ethics application, I've given you a sample of the UPI's ethics application to show you the complexity of it, and we'll discuss this in the next unit in 9b. It's a long document with lots of repetitive questions. So normally you do all of that thinking and all of that synthesizing in the ethics form that goes to the university's ethics committee. In this case, because you're not practicing that form that would take you a few hours, we're instead going to probably ask you to do a little paragraph towards the end, and it's not a fully fledged ethical sort of exploration, but just a highlight of the ethics problems that you're seeing and the steps that you're taking to solve them. Right? Whenever we have ethics in research, we're not saying it's impossible. it's impossible to have a question that doesn't raise ethical issues. All we're asking you is to identify them, to be lucid about them, and to put proactive steps which prepare for scenarios where something goes wrong. So we're asking you for that degree of preparedness. So in that little paragraph, I might ask you to say, to identify the potential issues that you see with ethics, and the steps that you're taking as a researcher to proactively make sure that these don't become significant obstacles. Try and be detailed and pragmatic. Language in a proposal is very hands-on. Yes, your literature review section is going to be a little more conceptual, but the rest is really, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is the tool I'm using, this is the time frame I have. It's not, don't use jargon, don't try and be sort of super academic in tone. It's actually really just you talking about the plan that you have. It's a very strategic document, and it uses very plain language. Watch out for the word count. I'm not asking you a huge document. And don't forget that even in the fully fledged process, a study is 5,000 words. The whole proposal cannot go beyond 2.5, 3, because you still have the whole of the description of your data analysis and the whole of your outcomes to enter. So that doesn't change. Your proposal is the beginning of your study. It would actually be like that. So there is no way that can go over that word count. And for you, it's a short week and it's a short semester, and this is a really pressured term. So just, do it in a small word count, but do it well. Indicate the timeline. You will see in the proposal that really, because this is what gets you funding, gets you ethics, they really want to see how long are you doing this. So again, be realistic. I remember what I told you, stay away from this notion that the more I see my participants, the better it is. No, think about participation, exhaustion, all of these questions. You don't actually want to see them more than you need to see them. And if you can establish something in a short term, do it in a short term, right? Be as concrete as you would be in the real world. Indicate, and then the pragmatic objectives, perfection does not exist here. It's a draft proposal as a course assignment in your first master's program. So I'm showing you the templates and the other examples to stimulate your thinking, get you thinking about the structure, come to a collective agreement about the checklist in terms of structure and units to be included. But I'm not presenting to you this sample proposal for you to get anxious about getting to professional sort of standard. Proposals that have been added to all of these sites are proposal probably of master students entering thesis or PhD students. You're not there. You're in your first course and you're learning. So be kind to yourself. And you've got a few references there. And what I will do, some of them fairly out of date, but again, this is stuff that really hasn't changed. I mean, how we write a proposal, it is one of the only, you get me in this course, it's the only course where I'm allowing myself to have stuff that's older than 10 years. Normally I stick to 2 years. I really like citing nothing older than 20 to 18. But a lot of this is foundational work that's not changing much. And to be honest, like Cresswell has probably re-edited this in a more expensive version, but it's the same text and they don't change much. So a lot of these texts get re-edited, and they stay exactly the same. I will try and put this in your readings for the unit and readings for the course, and I will try and find you the library links to this so that later on in the summer when you're writing, you can actually go and see the text straight into the library. So engage with that question about the what needs to be in the proposal in the units, and then once you finish that, you can jump into section 9b and you can start your reflection on ethics. And there's 2 questions to interact then in the medium, and that will be it for this morning. So bye for now. See you very shortly in the other video.